Hi guys, Lady Yoga here, and this is Yoga Quickies, the show where you tell us what you want out of your yoga or fitness routine, and we deliver it to you in 5 minutes or less. Recently, we had a request by someone who is trapped in their traps, the space that's just above the shoulder blades right here, and the space that's kind of towards the shoulder blades. You got your trapezius and your rhomboids. A lot of us carry tension right here in the upper back and in between the shoulder blades here. Most of the time it's because we're hunched over like this texting or at the office or even in the car. Our natural response is to go this way, so we're going to encourage an opening through here by using some balls. What I suggest to do, I'll put 5 minutes on the clock by the way, is to take 2 tennis balls, you could get them easy on Amazon, and a clean sock, a long one, that you don't use much, okay? You take the 2 tennis balls and you stick them in, not on either end, especially if you have hardwood floors. You don't want them to slip around. And just give yourself enough space where you can actually manipulate the balls to go a little bit separate, okay? So from here, you'll just lay down on the floor and take the balls. I have to say it that way, guys. Take the balls right at the place just above the shoulders. And you can place them so that they're almost like a mini foam roller at the space just above, like between the rear delts and the trapezius. That's right where, if you're just going to take your hands at your shoulders and give yourself a squeeze, it's quite lovely. And if you're having any issues with the upper back, like say it's more towards the rhomboids, the space between the shoulder blades, you can kind of give yourself a little Shakira shimmy on the back, so it's that space right between the shoulder blades. And you can literally inchworm up and down. You want to live a little bit in the space that it hurts a little bit. Not hurts so much that it's painful, but almost like a dull ache, like a deep tissue massage. And you can actually go along the whole length of the spine here if you have any tension along the spine. Not necessarily this way, but imagine you're on the floor, right? You can even do it up against the wall. So imagine I'm standing against the wall, although this is quite helpful, just even kneeling against the wall, and just rolling up and down so that the balls are actually sort of straddling the spine. It feels really good. And for those of us that have quadratus lumborum issues, so that's the space in the low back, it's towards the low rib, right before your pelvis, the back of your pelvis, it actually helps to stabilize the low spine. So I actually recommend taking those balls and bringing them a little bit more separate because you're a little wider down there, just above that space where your pelvis begins. Sorry, shorty. And you can bend the knees. That's going to bring the low back down a scotch and almost Pee-wee Herman out your spine. So you're actually kind of taking a pelvic tilt with a C curve in the spine. The C in this way, right? Like a little bucket, like a hammock. And you can just kind of roll a little bit, do your Shakira shimmy. That feels really good. Oh yeah. Especially for those people who are sitting upright for long periods of time, they can have tension in their low backs. Good, we still have 2 minutes. There's also, since we have the balls out and the spine is all related, everything is all related, right? You can start up here, you can start down there and travel up the spine if you just tend to have some tenderness along the spine and tension along the spine. Whatever fitness routine you have or lack of fitness routine, you can still get tense there, right? From here, there's a place right here above that pelvic bone, just below the navel. It's about 2 fingers right below the navel center, and you can go right towards that pelvic bone. I don't suggest doing this upright. I would suggest doing this on the floor because your psoas is that major muscle that links your upper body and your lower body. So what you would do is you would actually lie prone on your tummy and take 1 ball to that space that you found right here. And right here I'm feeling it. It's tough because I'm using the strength of my body to hold me up. You'll just take it and lie on that little space. Oh, that's good. And even the other ball sort of gets into just a tiny bit, especially if you've got a lot of room in the sock.
into a bit of the piriformis, which is that lower hip. Oh, ooh, that's good. Now I have one client that actually uses a tougher ball, a lacrosse ball, to do this. He's got some deep pain, but you can, again, do a little bit of a shimmy here on the back. You can do your texts. I wouldn't really sit upright too much like this because then you'll be pulling too much on the traps. But try to relax and get into that point where you feel it digging in, but not in a bad way. You might just feel a little bit of tenderness. And then you'll want to do the other side just to even yourself out. So a lot of people have used this in other ways, I'm sure. I'm sure that they're out there in many different ways. But this is a nice way. You can just keep this in, maybe not a star sock, but you can just keep a long sock somewhere in your office too if you just need to release a little bit of tension. I actually like to do this. Ooh, thanks, timer. Here's a bonus round. Just taking it onto the floor without the balls. If you just have a little bit of sort of low back tension and just kind of scoop out like you were scooping out the last little bit of peanut butter in a jar, and just take those 2 fingers when you found the psoas, that little tender spot, and just kind of give yourself a little zhuzh here. And if you're still kind of unsure when you're supine like this where the psoas is, it's that 2 fingers right below the navel. You'll sort of meet the pelvic bone there and scoop. Don't go too rough. You're not going to pop anything, guys, but like, you know, just a little bit mush there. And you can kind of cough or laugh or cough or whatever. And that's usually that muscle. That's where you can find that muscle. And then stop coughing or laughing, and then just allow yourself to zhuzh there. And it might feel kind of like a warm flush, and it should feel pretty good. Then just knees together, roll off to the side, and you should be good to go. But I love this because, you know, even though I get a lot of money to do massage on people, a foam roller, some of those muscle sticks that look like, you know, little rollers that you can roll on your muscles. It's really important to do that, especially if you do have any athletic activity. You can't get to the massage therapy spa. You can't get to the yoga studio or the gym. If you don't have a lot of physical activity and you tend to be at the desk a lot, I know that even when I'm preparing workshops, I'm there at the desk a lot and I have to just lay on some balls. You know, you gotta have balls to be nice and relaxed. So use them. It's cheap. It's easy to make. It's easy to do, and all you need is 5 minutes. So hopefully that's helpful for any of sort of like these isolated little muscular knots that you have. And, you know, get a massage, go for a swim, take a hot shower, a hot bath with Epsom salt, and that should help as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let us know what you want to know. Thank you for tuning in to Yoga Quickies. I'm Lady Yoga, and namaste.